Rin explained that he had a proposal for her, but she seemed a little nervous. With a hopeful smile, she said that she wanted to team up with Ryu and asked if they could team up together. Hearing this, Ryu smiled and replied that teaming up meant both parties were helping each other. Rin replied with a shiver that it was true, and Ryu said that he didn't think they could help him in any way, so he didn't want to team up with them. In a harsh tone, she said that they should go and stop wasting their time with this nonsense and turn back. With that, Ryu turned back and said that he had no desire to team up, and started walking deeper into the forest. Well, this was his way of taking revenge on the bodyguard. Then, when Ryu left, the bodyguard was really upset. He said that Ryu was really arrogant. But Rin, she fell to her knees, fainting, murmuring how intense Ryu's vibe was, like he could cut her down at any moment. Then she said she really wanted to be on the same team with Ryu ever since she first saw him fight, but it didn't work out well. The bodyguard, still upset, said that he had already told Rin that strong people like her always have big egos, and they like to work alone, and they don't like working in a team. Now standing near the ghost corpses, they thought about what to do in the remaining time before the vote, and they decided to hunt down some ghosts like Ryu so they could raise their level. Then, as they started to go inside the forest, we saw someone following them from the bushes. The scene then changes, and we see Ryu continuing to mercilessly kill the goblins while the goblins try to save their lives. After killing goblins for an hour, a group of gnolls approached Ryu, and upon seeing them, Ryu gave a big, bright smile and said, "Looks like something delicious has come your way." Then, when the group of wolves attacked Ryu simultaneously, Ryu killed them like vegetables in a single blow, and their torn body parts started falling like rain from the sky. With that, Ryu finally reached level 10. The system informed Ryu that he could access the shop as soon as he reached level 10. Then, a hidden quest to change class appeared before the voting started. If Ryu changed his class today, he would get a 50% discount on today's items in the shop. Ryu explained that everyone could choose which class they wanted after reaching level 10, but no one knew how to choose a class. For Warrior, one had to kill 30 demons in less than an hour, and one could become a berserker after fighting demons while bleeding for an hour, and so on. And after grinding continuously for God knows how long, Ryu gained this knowledge. After that, Ryu held the fairy's special juice in his hand. He began to absorb it, and a bright yellow light surrounded Ryu. The system informed Ryu that he had changed his class to Grim Reaper, and he got 3 unique abilities. First, when he wields the sickle, his attack increases by 2 times. Second, when he fights at night, his speed increases by 50%. And finally, at night, all of his senses are greatly enhanced. But that wasn't enough, so the system gave Ryu a Grim Reaper sickle to change his class, making him the first in the entire world. Then the system informed Ryu that he had moved up from the beginner rank to the apprentice rank. Ryu informed that there are a total of 6 ranks, starting with beginner, then apprentice, then regular, then expert, then master, then grandmaster. And with each rank comes a unique skill related to the class. As soon as Ryu reached the apprentice rank, he acquired the skill Seal of Death. Using it, he can place a seal on a target and inflict double the damage. After combining it with the 2x damage of his weapon, the Grim Reaper Sickle, he can inflict 4x damage. He also gained the skill of Tracking, which enables him to find the location of any person, provided he remembers the person's face or nickname. Oh boy, I wish I had this skill to track my crush. Now fully equipped, the first person Ryu thought of using his skill on was Youngman. He used his skill to track him, and the system informed him that Youngman was 190 meters away, with an arrow indicating the direction. So Ryu began to follow the arrow with an amused smile. The scene changes, and we see an exhausted Eren struggling to stay on her feet. She falls to the ground, and when she tries to stand up, her whole body shakes. She's in a lot of pain and tells her bodyguard that she can't run anymore. The bodyguard, who is hurting himself and panicking, helps her to her feet. She stands there, saying that the arrow wounds are killing her. The bodyguard, still scared, speculates, maybe if they can last an hour without dying, their real bodies won't be harmed. But before Eren can respond, they hear a voice that stuns them. It's Youngman and his crew. Youngmin is smiling as if he's got the upper hand, telling them that they won't be able to run away today. The bodyguard looks like he's ready to give up. He thinks he can do it. Don't die for this damned woman. He keeps his dagger ready. However, since it seems there is no option left but to fight, Youngmin sees the dagger and calls the bodyguard, an old man, asking if he really wants to fight them. He then points to his back, shows how many friends he has, and asks the bodyguard if he's blind so he can't see them all. The bodyguard yells angrily, wanting to know why Youngmin is doing this and what he's gonna get out of this. Youngmin just smiles, that creepy smile, and says he's gonna get something really good, which shocks them both. Youngmin goes on to say that he'll take the woman behind him. Since he's not interested in men, he can go, and he won't do anything to the bodyguard. Youngmin only wants the woman who looks like the actress Eren. Then Youngmin's friends saw a woman who looked like Eren. They didn't care if she was real or not. In this world, where they can feel pain, they thought they can also feel pleasure, so they wanted to have some fun with Eren. Eren got scared hearing this. Youngmin then tried to make a deal with the bodyguard. He said that if he handed over Eren, he could run away without a scratch, and they would return Eren without any harm after their fun. He said that everyone would be happy this way. The bodyguard got confused. If he had known that they were after Eren from the beginning, he would have left and saved his life. After all, he was in this job for the money and his life was more valuable than any job. But the fear of Heavenly Demon getting angry if he failed in his duty to protect him made up his mind. He got ready to fight. Seeing this, Youngmin found fun at the old man's readiness to fight. The bodyguard tried to argue, saying that what they were planning was a crime, but Youngmin just laughed it off. "Who will punish us?" he joked. "No one knows what we really look like or who we are in real life." With their backs against the wall, the bodyguard and Eren prepared themselves, trying to think of what their next move would be. Then someone else appears out of nowhere, and it is none other than the god of death, Ryu, who is resting under a tree, watching the entire confrontation. Youngmin looked at Ryu and panic flashed across his face, wondering what he was doing there. Ryu then asked Eren what they were doing there, but before he could answer, Youngmin tried to tell Ryu to mind his own business with his usual attitude. Ryu interrupted him and asked, "Did I ask you?" The bodyguard quickly told Ryu everything, about how Youngmin attacked them, and that they wanted to have some fun with Eren. Upon hearing this, Ryu stared at Youngmin and asked if it was true. Youngmin replied with his stoic attitude that whether it was true or not, Ryu should just mind his own business. Ryu was fed up with Youngmin's nonsense. In a deep voice, Ryu said that whether it was his job or not was none of Youngmin's business, and he should mind his own business. Next, he summoned his red, bloody sickle with a terrifying aura that shocked everyone. Now, with one hand in his pocket and the other hand holding his large sickle, giving off a bloody red aura, Ryu spoke in a deep voice. He made it clear that he would not let Youngmin go unharmed, especially when he knew that Youngmin intended to harm someone. Eren and his bodyguard stood behind Ryu, speechless. Youngmin gritted his teeth when he saw Ryu come to Eren's aid. Eren and his bodyguard expressed their gratitude to Ryu for saving them. However, Ryu didn't play the hero out of the goodness of his heart. He had his own motives. Turning back, he explained that by saving the Heavenly Demon's right arm, they would be indebted to him. Ryu believed that this could help him fulfill his future plans. Plus, he already had plans to take care of Youngmin, which was like killing two birds with one stone. As Ryu slowly approached Youngmin, he became afraid. In a trembling voice, Youngmin hesitantly warned Ryu not to get close to him, threatening to kill him. Seeing the scared look on Youngmin's face, Ryu smiled slyly, teasingly asking if Youngmin didn't want to fall, mentioning that he was eager to test his powers. So guys, today's goal is 3,000 likes. Please like and subscribe to support the channel. Eren and her bodyguard bowed their heads once again, thanking Ryu for his intervention. Curious, Eren asked what would happen if Youngmin and his men died due to excessive bleeding. Ryu bluntly stated that if they died, they'd die, comparing them to winged beasts. Observing Aren's compassionate nature, Ryu realized she might struggle in this harsh world. However, the bodyguard interrupted Ryu's thoughts, questioning why he let Youngmin and his men live. He argued that killing enemies was better to prevent potential future problems. Hearing this, Youngman grew terrified, but Ryu, with a knowing smile, found the bodyguard intriguing, as he knows exactly what type of world it is turning into, and only these types of people will survive longer in the future. Then, Ryu said the reason he didn't kill those guys was simple. Killing them would not bring any benefit to him. The bodyguard was a bit confused and asked if they might seek revenge in the future if left alive. Ryu, glaring at them, who were so terrified that if Ryu even clapped his hands, they might shit their pants. Ryu, with a smile on his face, asked the bodyguard does he think these guys had the will to take revenge, and if they wanted to, he was ready for a round 2 of torture. Then, Ryu elaborated further, explaining that mindlessly killing people would decrease the player population. Hearing Ryu's explanation, the bodyguard had a moment of realization. He grasped what Ryu meant. Fewer survivors in each round meant fewer available spots for people to pass. In that moment, the bodyguard's admiration for Ryu deepened. He saw Ryu not only as strong, but also incredibly smart, finding him downright amazing. Understanding the situation, the bodyguard sighed, declaring that he wouldn't pay attention to these useless trash. Once again, he thanked Ryu for his assistance, but then the bodyguard stopped Ryu, asking if Ryu could tell his real name, or even his bank account name, so that he could compensate him. Ryu didn't stop, and with a cold voice said, "No need," and just like that, he vanished into the deep forest. Now, the bodyguard was left wondering. Ryu had just helped them, and didn't even ask for anything in return. He would have to report this to the heavenly demon. However, a groaning voice interrupted his thoughts. As he turned back, it was Youngman crying in pain. Seeing them, the bodyguard was too eager to kill them. But as Ryu told them not to, he somehow managed to control his anger. Then he spit on Youngman's face, saying, "Disgusting," and they left. Then, the scene shifts, and we see all the players arguing about whom to vote for. They started fighting among themselves, creating a chaotic situation. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the chaos, and it's the green-haired guy. With a serious tone, he stated that only 2 hours were left, and fighting wouldn't bring any good to them. Hearing this, other players asked what they should do, and if he had any solution. The green-haired guy confidently said he indeed had a plan, shocking everyone. With a smirking face, he thought that people are just too foolish, easily falling for his skill. We see all the players with hypnotic eyes following the green-haired guy, who gave an evil smile. Then we go back to the past to see what this green-haired guy's ability is. His unique skill is named Rune of Persuasion, and using this, when he talks to someone, there are high chances that they will obey his words. Initially, when he got this ability, he was angry, thinking about how he could fight using this seemingly useless skill. However, to test it, he saw a woman struggling to fight 3 goblins. He started shouting that the woman was in grave danger and that they should help her. As soon as the other players heard his words, they started running toward the woman to save her. He realized how deadly his skill was. Just by communicating with someone, he could manipulate their minds to do whatever he wanted. Now, the task of becoming the zone leader was a piece of cake for him, using this skill. Then, the green-haired guys said they first have to decide on some candidates, so they can narrow down whom to vote for, and they will select 5 candidates. Hearing this, the players said it's not a bad idea, and they don't think they have any better idea than this. Now, the green-haired guy started to laugh, thinking his plan is going smoothly. The crowd was in deep thought about which 5 people to choose, and the green-haired guy was seeing this, enjoying the show as he knew he would be there as one of the 3 candidates. Now, the players started to see him as a reliable guy. Just as he thought, someone from the crowd said he wanted the green-haired guy to be one of the 5 candidates, and following him, others also started saying yes. When all the players were fighting, not knowing what to do, he was the one who guided them, so he could become a good leader. Hearing this, the green-haired guy tried to act like he didn't expect anyone would have said his name, saying he is not capable enough to be a leader. But all the players started to praise him, saying he has the qualities of a leader. From inside, the green-haired guy was just too happy, thinking about how foolish all these players are, easily getting manipulated. Then he said if all the players are saying so, although he didn't want to, he will become one of the candidates. The remaining 4 candidates went like this. They selected Black Scythe, who was ranked first. Then a guy named Life is a Documentary, who was ranked second. Then the green-haired guy said, as all the candidates were selected, now he will start with a warm and kind smile. He said that if he becomes the zone leader, but before he could finish his sentence, Life is a Documentary intervened, saying this is all bullshit. As the green-haired guy turned back, he saw a muscular guy with a tattoo on his neck, cleaning his ear with his pinky finger. His name was Life is a Documentary, the second-ranked guy in the zone. With an angry face, he said he can't listen to his bullshit anymore. Hearing this, the green-haired guy, with a serious face, started to say that his use of words was too harsh and people like him would not become good leaders. But Life is a Documentary got furious, saying he is not here to listen to a lecture, especially not from a weak, pathetic guy like him who looks like he still drinks his mommy's milk. Now hearing this, the green-haired guy got a little angry, but he was also shocked, thinking if his skill was not working on him. And if that's the case, then that means his level is higher than his. Life is a Documentary started to threaten the players, saying if they don't vote for him, he will kill everyone.